As you all know, Jake Paul is the greatest boxer in human history.
Say, fight a real boxer, here we go. He's gonna get knocked out by a Disney star. Back to stunning fury, left hook. And right there. He's gonna get knocked out. How important this is.
Tommy! Okay, maybe not so much at all. Jake Paul, who gained initial fame on YouTube, believes he will defeat former world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua in their professional boxing match on December 19th.
I, Jake Joseph Paul, will knock out, defeat, and embarrass Anthony Joshua.
I think he's that deluded and that crazy. He believes he can win, and I think we've all been trying to work out the psychology of Jake Paul. I don't think you can. It's like, crazy people, you can't get on their wavelength. You simply can't.
And we will soon see here why being delusional is sometimes deadly.
The world champion.
Oh! So the result's quite obvious. Whatever he hits, he destroys.
So we're going inside the deadly delusional mind of Jake Paul, where this fight may very well be the end of him. Now, let's get started.
This might be the worst decision Jake Paul has ever made. Potentially what might be a live murder on television.
I've been in there with AJ. When he lets his hands go, he's an absolute monster.
He's somehow trying to survive, but Anthony Joshua!
This guy is a wrecking machine.
Oh, the left hand and a right hand!
He'll knock you into tomorrow.
Swats on the right hand, ladies!
For those who are unfamiliar with Anthony Joshua, who simply goes by AJ, he's basically the type of specimen boxer you build in a video game. He's 6 foot 6 inches tall, fights at around 245 pounds, doesn't have any physically destructive bad habits.
That's better.
He's an Olympic boxing gold medalist and was fairly recently the unified world heavyweight champion twice.
The next time I see Kendra, I'm ripping her head off.
And possibly most impressively, he went the distance with Alexander Usyk twice.
Guy who survived Usyk twice.
Left hand downstairs, but Joshua meets him with a right hand. That one rocked Usyk.
He survived the most skillful heavyweight of all time. Twice.
He is a freak athlete, the likes of which you have never dealt with in your life before.
Jake Paul is deadly delusional because his entire belief system is built on his distorted version of reality, where he handpicks his opponents to make it appear to his novice media audience that he's extremely skilled and talented at boxing. Jake beat Mike Tyson, but he was nearly 60 years old with major health problems.
Only a few months ago, he was seen using a walking stick and sitting in a wheelchair because his back is totally
Guess the last time Mike Tyson boxed professionally, where the result would end up on his boxing record.
Mike Tyson left to the 6th round.
And if McBride actually wins this round...
Yeah, a long time ago. June 11th, 2005. And this happened in the fight.
And he's having difficulty getting up.
Come on. He wants Joe Cortez to help him.
He can barely make it to his feet.
And Tyson was apparently only fighting Jake for one last big boxing payday in his life and didn't seem to really care about defending his record in that fight.
Jake couldn't knock out 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and trust me, he tried. He tried in the first couple of rounds in that fight.
The biggest moment in all of boxing history on Friday night when I put this man to sleep.
This is not going to come true, young man.
What was surprising about Mike Tyson is like how hard it was to hit him. His movement and getting out of the way of punches, he's like lightning fast even at his age. Was that style where he like just disappears out of nowhere.
A 60-year-old Mike Tyson, and he didn't put him down once. This convo about Jake Paul's power needs to end immediately.
The Mike Tyson fight, I don't think helped his reputation at all. I think it made him look like an opportunistic bully and someone who was looking for the easiest payday against the oldest fighter possible.
Instead of Jake recognizing that these opponents were carefully chosen to protect his record, generate media hype, and inflate his confidence, Jake began drinking his own Kool-Aid. This is where he started calling out anyone who pointed the obvious truth about his hand-selected opponents as a hater.
The problem is the only proper boxer you fought was Tommy Fury, and he beat you.
And including Mike Tyson himself.
Peak Tyson, you wouldn't have lasted 10 seconds.
While spinning each win to the media and apparently to himself as if those wins came against prime elite level boxers.
You don't actually know that. You can't sit there and
you think
state
you'd
that
have beaten
fact.
Pete
It's not
Mike
true.
Tyson?
He treated these strategically chosen victories as proof that he is genuinely ready for the highest tier of heavyweight boxing. And this is where the delusion begins to take over.
I'm the greatest thing to happen to boxing since Muhammad Ali, and there's no even debating that.
So y'all can shut the up. I'm him. I'm really him. Wait till I get going even more, motherfucker.
In his mind, beating former greats becomes the same thing as beating them when they were elite boxers.
People don't realize I'm a real killer. I really do this. YouTube this, YouTube that, Disney that. This is not a joke. I'm knocking out the best of the best, beating all of these people.
His brain erases all the context around why he beat them and keeps only the ego-boosting headline he tells the media. For Jake, the positive moments, the flashy knockouts, the hyped headlines are magnified, while the flaws, weaknesses, and criticisms are pushed out of his conscious awareness, labeled as merely hate against him.
It's just hate, you know? It's just hate.
This selective perception gives him constant ego reinforcement because he's only absorbing information that confirms the fantasy that he wants to believe about himself.
I'm more athletic than every single boxer in the whole entire sport and stronger than them.
You would beat
1000%,
Canelo.
100%.
Canelo Alvarez,
Not a
the boxer?
shadow of doubt in my mind. Never been hit by someone as hard as me.
You get to a stage of what he's achieved in YouTube and just in life, and you think anything's possible.
You've spoken about the desire to play football professionally in the NFL. How serious is that?
It's very serious. I'm going to go and play slot receiver. The way I see it is it's simple as
Instead of processing feedback or acknowledging his flaws, the deluded person protects their ego by attacking the source of the criticism.
And you versus going to the gym, you're still a fat.
By labeling all the criticism he receives about his lackluster opponents as merely hate,
I think there's the online rhetoric of hate, but I think it's actually secretly love.
keeps himself insulated inside a world where he believes he is at the level of a world heavyweight champion, even when all the evidence suggests he's only a mid-level boxer.
Jake Paul is now ranked the number 14 cruiserweight in the world by the W.A.D E, and he's called out Anthony Joshua. Just makes the whole sport look ridiculous. Gets them more attention, and if he does one day compete for their belt, they get a nice percentage of all the revenue that he would bring in.
Instead of seeing his ranking as an apparent marketing stunt of the WBA, Jake seems to have interpreted it as confirmation that his inflated self-image is accurate.
They are the guys he's beaten. How does that justify a top 15 world ranking?
It becomes one more piece of evidence he can point to while ignoring the fact that he has never fought anyone even close to someone as elite as AJ.
Couldn't hurt Tommy Fury. He couldn't beat Tommy Fury. And Tommy Fury's nowhere near the level AJ is.
Can't lose, won't lose. I, Jake Joseph Paul, will knock out, defeat, and embarrass Tommy Fury.
Just this guy is delusional, and being delusional get you killed.
This is the boxing hurdle that you need to clear. If you don't clear it, isn't it true that you're just a celebrity boxer?
That would be correct.
When Jake lost to Tommy Fury, who was the only young, active, real boxer he stepped in the ring with, he immediately began creating excuses to protect his fragile ego.
I got sick really bad twice in this camp, injured my arm.
This is called self-serving bias, where he blames his boxing losses on external factors he claims to be outside of his control, and credits his boxing wins to internal skills all within his control. Jake later, in more recent interviews, reframes the loss by claiming he's improved greatly since then.
3 years since then, and it's just night and day.
However, although he may have improved since then,
Has he progressed since Tommy Fury? No, I don't think he has. He's actually went backwards in a way.
Jake still makes many fundamental flaws. He leans over his front foot when he jabs. Jake Paul found it really hard to get past the jab of Tommy Fury, which in my opinion was very basic.
do you think Jake has improved from losing to a mid-level boxer 2.5 years ago to now magically being capable of winning against an elite world boxer like AJ?
Just wanted to come in here and remind everybody that that bum couldn't beat me when I basically had a broken hand.
It goes past 2 minutes. I will take that in. AJ's has been paid off.
Do not take dives. If he fights, you knock him dead as a nit.
If I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? He can't beat me. And I'm not Anthony Joshua, am I? So it's just ludicrous. It really is.
And what do you think making excuses does to Jake's delusion? Yes, it allows him to maintain the illusion of growth and superiority, keeping his fantasy alive that he can beat an elite heavyweight boxer like AJ.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass. He doesn't have a chin, and he has no skill, and he's stiff.
Jake believes AJ has a weak chin, meaning he apparently believes he can knock out AJ by sneaking in a right-hand punch. But this is pure confirmation bias at work.
His chin's gone.
But he's still Anthony Joshua.
Which is stiff and no rhythm, no skill, just power.
You're serious about fighting him?
Yeah.
Jake only notices the moments that support his fantasy and ignore the fact that AJ has brushed off massive punches from some of the most powerful heavyweights in the world. Jake has never fought, hit, or been hit by an active true heavyweight fighter in a real boxing match.
He's never even got hit yet, like in a real fight. He's never taken a real punch.
I've never been knocked down or knocked out even in sparring.
How are you going to react when that big shot hits you? You think you're going to snap back into it and know what to do? No.
Yet his mind protects his ego by convincing himself that AJ has a clear weakness he can exploit to drop one of the best in the sport simply because he dropped much smaller, less skilled opponents in the past. Also, somehow delusional Jake convinced himself that since everyone AJ lost to was shorter than him, and since Jake is also shorter than AJ, that means he can win against AJ.
When you look at it, he's lost to guys who are smaller than him. It's his weakness, it's his kryptonite.
But here's the thing, basically everyone AJ has fought was shorter than him.
I was invited to train with Team Usyk, so I've been in Spain. We've been doing some good training out in Spain.
Yeah, buddy, it's over.
Anthony, Joshua is training with your team.
This is Spain, rather. Yeah.
Yes.
This looks even more dangerous now for Jake Paul.
I want everybody, Anthony Joshua, Gervonta, and Tommy, stop running.
Tommy Fury was scared per usual, wanted more time. I'm not worried about Tommy right now. I'm the only thing that he has, and if he wants to fight at some point, he just has to be realistic. KSI is scared. Tommy Fury's scared.
It's absolutely bonkers how Jake still talks about the possibility of fighting influencer and mid-level boxers like KSI and Tommy Fury in the same conversation as this AJ fight. Do you know what that says about Jake? Yes, this shows us just how out of touch with reality Jake truly is, because only someone living in a completely distorted, likely insane, and deluded version of the sport would see mid-level fighters as future opponents.
I think Jake Paul is not only delusional, I think he's crazy. Jake Paul literally must be insane.
It's not about being crazy. He knows what he can do, and that's all that matters. Good luck to him.
Because can you imagine an elite world heavyweight boxer like AJ calling out influencer KSI to fight? Because he would be so clearly out of their league and would be embarrassing to challenge someone at such a lower level to fight.
You want to fight KSI still?
Yeah, but he's not going to do it.
It's like, pick on someone your own size. However, this psychologically shows us that Jake likely delusionally views his prior mid-level and influencer opponents as elite, apparently unaware that there are many levels above his prior opponents, where world elite fighters like AJ, Usyk, Caballel, Wardley, and Dubois operate with extreme power, precision, expertise, and skill far beyond anything Jake knows exists. This is a perfect example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is because he stayed within the comfort and safety of his small bubble for so long that he can't recognize how much he currently doesn't know.
Anthony Joshua, you're a wussy. I'm gonna come down your chimney, boy, and whoop that ass.
When someone is unknowingly at the very top of Mount Stupid in a dangerous sport like boxing, that overconfidence causes them to get into the ring with opponents who are way above their league, which can easily lead to death.
Delusion can also get you killed in this sport, and I mean that legitimately too. Like I've seen people die in boxing. I just don't see a way logically where you can pick Jake Paul surviving this fight. Genuinely, Jake does have a screw loose. He is a little crazy, and everybody knows it.
Oh, what are you talking about? I've had 10 title defenses.
That was easy.
What do you mean easy?
In this classic scene in the movie Rocky III, Rocky finds out that the boxers he defended his heavyweight title against,
he was handpicked,
were handpicked by his trainer and manager, Mickey, then immediately asks if those fights were
setups.
This is because Rocky understood how boxing is known to sometimes be dirty like that.
If Jake Paul fights Anthony Joshua, I'm putting £1 million on Jake Paul. I want some free money. Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his...
So if it goes any other way, you know. But here's the thing, setups are extremely risky because it's a federal crime.
Doesn't need to be a written agreement.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a silent conversation with your opponent in there like, "Oi, don't try and play any games with me and I might keep you in here for a few rounds."
However, handpicking the right opponent at the right moment is not only legal, but also more effective in the long term. Do you know why? Yes, you simply just look for people to fight who have a famous name and are not that great of a boxer, at least anymore, but then hype them up to the media before the fight.
He's a legend, you know? This is the guy. Most famous boxers to ever live, him and Muhammad Ali. He's an animal. But I have to step up to this level and show people that I can accomplish the impossible.
So when you win, it looks like you defeated a legendary threat.
Your winner by unanimous decision, Schaik!
Rather than someone who was carefully chosen and then systematically hyped up just to make you look good. He started by fighting an influencer. And now he's down again! Then a known athlete from a completely different sport. Then moved on to boxing someone known for their wrestling ability.
Get my money, Jake! Get my money!
Then two retired UFC fighters who were transitioning into boxing. And finally to famous old retired boxers who no longer seem to take the sport very seriously, but whose name can be still hyped up to make an easy win look magnificent.
Careful by ducking down.
Andre August, he knocked him out quickly. He had one fight in 4 years when he fought Jake Paul. Ryan Bowerland had one fight in 6 years when he fought Jake Paul.
I'm knocking out the best of the best.
Oh, big right.
Chavez Jr. also one fight in 4 years when he fought Jake Paul and wasn't even a fucking cruiserweight before that anyway.
The best of the best.
And let's not forget about Mike Tyson, who had one fight in 19 years before fighting Jake Paul.
Beating all of these people.
In other words, Jake can pull matching levers to protect his image and ego while avoiding anyone who actually exposes his true skill level. So what is Jake's thought process of how he convinced himself that he can win against AJ here? Yes, AJ's last fight was over a year ago when he lost by knockout, because Jake believes AJ just can't take a punch.
I'm going back to training camp. I'm fighting Anthony Joshua.
People say, oh, I respect Jake Paul for getting in there. No, respect me because I'm about to win. 4th or 5th round knockout by me.
There's something about W.A.D. that he sees in himself. That's what I think is where it gets nuts.
I'm knocking this guy out, becoming the CEO of Matchroom Boxing and changing the plans, and it's going to be me versus Tyson Fury next year.
When you called out Anthony Joshua,
Why did you do that? To be the heavyweight champion of the world. His chin's gone.
AJ just recovered from elbow surgery, and also AJ is now 36 years old. So 28-year-old Jake likely convinced himself that AJ is aging, is out of his prime, and has suddenly become more beatable.
If he starts getting touched up and losing rounds, I think the cookie will crumble.
In Jake's mind, this fits the same pattern as his previous hand-picked opponents, where a higher age and being out of the sport for a while signals weakness that he can exploit to increase his chances of winning. However, what delusional Jake seems to refuse to acknowledge is that a now 36-year-old AJ is still a young, full-sized, elite heavyweight boxer with world-class boxing power, skill, and experience.
And when AJ hits you with a jab, it hurts. You know what I mean? It really hurts. The power is just ridiculous. People don't realize the power of AJ. It's freaky.
What does that do to your punch output?
You literally go into survival mode because of the size difference. You know, you question your manhood.
Big right hand. Joshua looks like he's in no rush. He's playing the matador in there at the moment.
Oh!
AJ is not one of Jake's long-retired boxing opponents who doesn't really care about their boxing record anymore. So they would just let Jake play around with them in the ring for half an hour to get paid many millions of dollars, which would secure that retired fighter's financial future for life.
He's not that old. It's more his boxing years is old, right? He's not looked after himself. He's not been consistent. He's been a drug addict, if I'm being honest with you.
Pound for pound #1 of the world, yes. Oh, here, look at me, man.
Anthony Joshua, a literal destroyer at heavyweight, a literal one punch, send you to the hospital, potentially end your career puncher.
If Anthony Joshua won, Anthony killed this guy. Rolls Royce, Fiat.
I'm gonna break his face. I'm gonna break his body up. I'm gonna stomp all over him. I'm not in there to try and knock Jake out in 10 seconds or 8 rounds. I'm gonna go in there and do a job. I'm gonna want to hurt him.
It appears the only reason why Jake Paul will not be hospitalized in this boxing match is because AJ chose to let up on him, or if Jake is saved by the referee or his corner throws in the towel.
This is going to end badly. It doesn't make any sense.
Boxing is not just the punches you see, it's the feinting, it's the distance, it's the, oh my God, I threw that jab. Yeah, the intangibles.
This may wind up being one of those events where we all look back on it and wonder how the Boxing Commission sanctioned this fight.
But I'm surprised they're letting this one happen.
I want him to break my face, but guess what? He's going to have to kill me to stop me, and I'm ready to die, seriously ready to die in the ring to win this fight.
Knowing what Anthony Joshua is a specialist at, he's a specialist at putting knuckles through your brain. That's what he's going to try to do to Jake Paul.
If you just beat him, or do you need to knock him out?
I need to knock him out.
We may never see this extreme of a mismatch in professional boxing ever again.
Heavyweights can take much bigger punches. You've got Jake Paul, who's never even fought for any level of title, going up 2 weight divisions. Like, it's absolutely crazy. I don't think the fight should have even been allowed. Like, it's mental.
Because very few fighters are able to build the illusion to the public that they are world class enough to belong in the ring with an elite heavyweight when they are nowhere close to that level. In the boxing ring, Jake is going to quickly realize that there are clear levels to this sport.
Who is the hardest hitting puncher so far you faced?
It's definitely Tommy Fury or Mike Tyson.
Beating a nearly 60-year-old Mike Tyson who was barely able to stand without a cane and fighting with softer 14-ounce boxing gloves is very different than feeling AJ's fist go into Jake's face or abdomen with standard 10-ounce boxing gloves.
You know what I think the shot will be as well? I think it'll be a body shot.
I think a jacket.
Yeah, it'll dig into the stomach and it's going to fold him in half, man.
After this fight, I'll likely make a follow-up video about the possible neuropsychological brain damage that Jake Paul may have experienced in this boxing match, so you may want to subscribe for that future video. Many people will be watching this fight simply to see Jake finally get knocked out.
People really want to see you get knocked out.
If AJ knocks out Jake, they'll hold a celebration like if the devil had passed.
But as much as I haven't always agreed with Jake Paul, I don't wish physical harm on anyone.
I'm going to go back to do some ayahuasca in March. Very excited for that. This all came from an ayahuasca ceremony.
Jake is also very big on ayahuasca, visualizing his future, often talks about being told by the gods that he's destined to win.
It's my time that, you know, the gods have showed this to me.
And what do you think that psychologically does to him? Yes, this kind of experience supercharges his delusional thinking because it gives him a sense of cosmic supernatural validation.
It's already written from the universe.
Instead of ever working to question his delusions, his beliefs get confirmed by something much greater than himself, twisting possible symbolic visions into what he now treats as literal future predictions. This experience strengthened his fantasy, making him feel chosen, supercharging his delusions, and pushing him further away from reality.
For 2 busy athletes, Jake comes a lot of the times to me in season, and then in my off season, I'm with him.
Jake's fiance is a professional Olympic speed skater in the Netherlands, and that dynamic adds another psychological layer to his inflated confidence and delusion.
The relationship we have, always supporting each other to both become the best in the world in our sports.
Reinforcing his delusional belief that he is at that level and just needs to be given the opportunity to get in the ring and show the world what he can do, which is evidenced by Jake's statement here.
When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt disappears and no one can deny me the opportunity to fight for a world title.
I think I should be getting the World Heavyweight Championship belt for this fight. That's always been the goal, is to become world champion. I think that would be the next step.
Rather than grounding him in reality for his safety, this romantic relationship seems to be further amplifying his delusion.
Logan thinks I'm gonna win.
He's gotten a lot better.
He's gotten a lot better.
He can fight, man.
Yeah, but what about Anthony Joshua?
That's bad, bro.
Logan thinks I'm gonna win.
Also, Jake seems to feel as if he's living in the shadow of his older brother Logan, who often diminishes his younger brother's success.
You think because you lost a fight to Floyd Mayweather that you're better than me at boxing?
I'm tired of not being picked because you're an easier fight.
Is that what you really think in your head?
I'm Jake.
Adds even more insecurity-driven pressure for him to constantly seek validation from Logan, his family, and the world that he's great.
I'm fighting Anthony Joshua.
I'm terrified. What's the world going to say when you knock his out? Because it's going to happen.
I know it's gonna happen too. I'm fighting Anthony Joshua because I'm him. Dude, it's light work.
That constant validation-seeking behavior and comparison thought creates pressure to overachieve, which blends with his internally guarded delusion that he is a great boxer and pushes him to chase unrealistic goals to both feel worthy in his own mind and in the eyes of those he may feel he needs to impress.
Look at this. He's just getting caught clean. If Chavez had any zip on these shots and he wasn't as weak as he is, this would have been in big trouble for Jake Paul. Look at that, man. He's just wide open.
There are levels to boxing, and if these small guys are able to show you things that you had no idea that you were vulnerable to in a boxing ring, what happens when someone who hits 4, 5, 6 times as hard as that does the exact same thing to you and lands it on your chin?
I'm going to expose him to certain tricks in boxing that he may not have seen yet, and I'm going to bring him to another school of boxing that I don't think he's been exposed to yet.
Boxing is a unique sport because unlike many other sports, including speed skating, having confidence that well exceeds your level can be extremely deadly, dangerous, and painful.
We may see a death in the boxing ring. I'm not even joking, man. You were getting caught clean by Chavez at the end of that fight, mate.
However, the way boxers check their confidence is by sparring or practice fighting with opponents who are better than they are.
Who have you sparred? Who have you sparred to give you this confidence? Now, if I was to spar someone at world level, which I've done before, you realise, oh my God, I would have needed to have been born 20 years earlier and started training from birth to get to that level.
But there has been no indication from Jake's camp that he's been successfully sparring with partners anywhere near the skill level and capability of AJ.
I don't believe there's any confidence there. I don't believe he's gained anything from the sparring. I think it's his pure stupidity.
This means Jake is training inside a psychological echo chamber, surrounded by yes men who either cannot or will not challenge his delusional belief about his own ability.
Jake has to be with a group of yes men.
Which was oddly similar to how Jake's older brother Logan was surrounded by yes men before his fight with KSI 6 years ago.
He a machine. Let's go, champ. He a machine. Ooh, look out. Look out. Wow. Wow. He got that natural. Let's go, champ. Look at them legs, y'all. It look like 10, but it's only 3.
And subsequently lost that fight. And interestingly, back then, Jake criticized Logan's camp for surrounding him with the yes men.
I'm saying stop being a yes man.
One thing I ain't never been is a yes man. You said, yo,
I'm just done with you're the best.
It's sadly psychologically very common that once someone starts seeing success, they end up surrounding themselves with yes men and women. Do you know why?
If someone has to stop him and say, brother, you're putting your life at risk. We could witness a murder, bro.
Once they gain fame, fortune, and power, the people around them start to fear losing access to them.
100% think he's going to beat Anthony Joshua, yes.
Look at Nikisa. Nikisa's like, what the are we doing? Look at him shake his head. He's like, oh man, what are we doing?
100% think he's going to beat Anthony Joshua.
Those people are often paid very well, so they value staying in their inner circle more than telling them the truth.
Do I think it's dangerous for Jake Paul? Absolutely. Do I think it's also dangerous for Anthony Joshua? 100%.
What a joker.
Since anyone who speaks honestly gets labeled as a hater and pushed out of their inner circle fast.
But there's got to be people around you to be like, if you care about this lad, don't let him can do this.
Without sparring sessions that expose his weakness or give Jake a realistic benchmark of where he stands, his false confidence goes continuously unchecked, growing further and further detached from reality. This creates a dangerous psychological cocktail where Jake feels prepared to fight someone he never truly simulated in training, likely setting him up for a brutal and potentially career-ending moment where AJ puts him to sleep, with the only real question being for how long.
Apparently they want me to spar a guy by the name of Paulo Costa. He's not a human, he's a bear. He's a 13-0 undefeated UFC fighter. Put the headgear on me and not him, and that's how you know I'm
Now watch this clip of Logan Paul, Jake's older brother, who was also a boxer at this time, sparring with a very good UFC fighter, and see what you think. Yes, Paulo Costa is a 6'1" UFC middleweight fighting at 185 pounds.
Come on. Lift his legs up. Lift his legs up.
Here.
Lift his legs up. How'd I do?
You were great, man. I did good? You're great, man. Won. You're kidding me. You won.
And if you're thinking, wow, Costa's quite good, that just goes to show you just how good AJ is and what Jake is likely up against. Because to put it in perspective, what Costa did to Logan Paul is what AJ would do to Costa. AJ is 5 inches taller than Costa, about 60 pounds heavier of lean muscle than Costa, has about a 10-inch longer reach than Costa, and AJ spent his fighting career entirely focused on boxing skill. Costa would be knocked out very quickly by AJ.
I've met Francis Ngannou. He's one of the biggest, most scariest humans ever created. Anthony Joshua went through him with laser precision. He made him look so easy. It was unbelievable.
He has the look of defeat on his face, a bewildered look.
He's really feeling it right now. I mean, he probably has no idea where he is.
Anthony Joshua can dispel.
Just steps into it with every ounce of his body.
If Anthony Joshua can do this to Francis Ngannou, then what do you think he can do to Jake Paul?
This is what people mean when they say there are levels to boxing.
I said, did you see what he did to Francis? He's like, Francis is light work too.
Here's also, oh my God.
So yeah, Jake Paul. I'm like, no, bro, come on. Don't disrespect me like that. It's not about the number.
Another psychological factor feeding into Jake's delusion is that he has never really been injured in the ring because those he fought against were intended to be easier victories for him.
Regardless of what Jake Paul thinks, Jake Paul chin has never been tested. And Jake Paul, I've yet to see him get hit with a solid shot. And that's mostly because he's not fighting solid boxers.
So what do you think that causes? Right, naturally, he subconsciously believes he's invincible and can't get seriously injured. So it feels like no risk and many millions of dollars in pay to fight AJ. This is known as unrealistic optimism and is very common when someone becomes delusional, where a person assumes bad outcomes apply to others and not themselves, and they begin to feel special and invincible.
Dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists ever.
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch night guy.
Yeah.
Probably the worst fight that Jake Paul could have took. This is a big dude, heavyweight.
I think that this is like the worst possible choice from Jake Paul.
Jake has never been knocked out, knocked down, and has never taken a big punch from a heavyweight in any of his boxing matches.
Even in sparring, I've never been knocked down or knocked out or anything.
So he has no internal reference point for how dangerous a fighter like AJ actually is. It's kind of like how ignorance is bliss. Therefore, he cannot mentally grasp the physical consequences of getting hurt in the ring. This causes his brain to fill in that gap with the fantasy that he is uniquely durable or protected, which only strengthens his false sense of invincibility. This lack of real-world negative feedback makes his confidence grow wild, and his awareness of danger shrinks, leaving him psychologically unprepared for the level of physical punishment someone like AJ can inflict on him. Although more money is always nice, irreversible life-altering brain damage is a real thing in the sport, and Jake is not magically protected from that. Boxing exposes the brain to sudden extreme forces where a flurry of clean punches from an elite world heavyweight like AJ can cause catastrophic damage, including ruptured internal organs, severe concussions, brain swelling, brain bleeds that may require emergency surgery, and can permanently alter his quality of life or even lead to death.
If Jake Paul is left, up against the ropes with Anthony Joshua, unloading on him, could be the end for him, literally. It could be his last day on earth.
And brain damage in these sports are more common than you think, where sometimes the effects of the damage are delayed until years later when a person begins experiencing memory declines, emotional instability, severe headaches, and unexplained adverse changes in their personality. But why are the symptoms sometimes delayed? The brain can slowly deteriorate after trauma because injured neurons continue breaking down over time, eventually leading to conditions like chronic traumatic encephalopathy known as CTE.
It's a progressive degenerative brain disease. It is like Alzheimer's. It can start with memory loss, mood swings, and difficulty in concentration, developing into progressive dementia.
Based on the massive size gap, the extreme power difference, and Jake's lack of true heavyweight experience or defensive skill, his realistic risk of sustaining a serious or life-threatening injury in this fight is around 50%. Jake likely views this fight as a win-win because if he loses badly, everyone expected him to lose anyway. But if he wins or even just performs well, he finally gains the desired respect as a real boxer.
Put some respect on my name.
My respect. However, the physical risk he's taking is massive because his quality of life can be permanently altered, and no amount of money or fame can undo that. Jake is apparently psychologically blind to the fact that this fight comes with it the high possibility of irreversible physical and neurological damage that will follow him for the rest of his life. If you're thinking fighters get punched in the head all the time and they seem to be fine, that's only because you don't usually see the fighters who never recover, where their symptoms show up years later, or they may quietly suffer with memory problems, mood swings, chronic pain, or reduced cognitive ability, but never seek help and often don't publicize those struggles to the media. Also, experienced fighters rarely take multiple clean shots from a very large and skilled heavyweight opponent like AJ. They have many years of defensive skill, timing, and head movement experience and reflex training that allows them to roll with the punches and deflect them just enough to reduce that full potential force.
Do you believe this?
It's mostly a myth that fighters can condition themselves through repeated fights to simply not get hurt. However, they become much better at rolling with the punches, with defensive techniques, bracing for impact, and taking the pain.
Yes, I believe it.
Jake does not have that level of experience, and certainly not at the elite heavyweight level, so punches from someone like AJ are more likely to land cleanly with full direct power. These types of punches are not comparable to anything Jake has experienced, and the human brain is not built to withstand that level of force.
Boxing's a dangerous, dangerous game. Your brain isn't supposed to rattle around in your head, particularly the way it's going to for Jake Paul when Anthony Joshua starts letting those punches fly.
Do you know why Jake was not clowning around in that face-off like he's been known to do in past face-offs? Yes, it appears Jake became intimidated once he truly realized how big AJ is, and he probably didn't want to piss him off and give AJ any extra motivation to hospitalize him.
If you notice at the start of the face-off, Jake is looking down at his chest.
Yeah.
Jake had said to me that he was going to motorboat him.
Maybe before the face-off, Jake was thinking of clowning around by motorboating like that, but clearly when Jake stood next to AJ and found out that he was looking into AJ's chest...
Yeah, but you're only like 6'1", 215.
I lied on Google. I'm only 6 foot.
Jake seemed to have chickened out because he instantly realized it's probably safer for him to just shut his mouth.
What happened to that? Where was it? Where was it? Because you did it against Tank.
Isn't Jake similar to a schoolyard bully in this way? He only really messes with smaller opponents like pinching Tank Davis like that famous Marmont video to appear tough and get media attention. But as soon as the bigger opponent steps up, he immediately shuts down and gets intimidated.
Not bravery, it's just stupidity. This is the most stupidest thing I've ever seen.
This may just be the end of Jake Paul as we know him, and we may just find out why being delusional is sometimes deadly.
It's likely a one-sided beating.
I think AJ is going to hurt him very bad. It's going to be freaking destruction.
So we need to pray for Jake Paul.
Yes.
It's insane and it's delusional beyond belief.
Sometimes reality can be very painful.
I think AJ flattens him.
This guy will kill you to death inside of 3 rounds.
Nasty knockout. The knockout's going to be devastating. I don't think there's any grace that you can take from it.
My fight prediction, Jake Paul gets knocked out in a very early round. Now in the comments, what's your fight prediction? Let everyone know in the comments below. Subscribe for more, and if you want exclusive content and channel perks, you can hit that join button now below, because your support makes all of this possible. When Jake gets knocked out, you know I'll be making a follow-up video breaking down the damage. Jake Paul is really stupid for doing this fight. See you next time.
I'm a professional boxer. He's more of the live streaming guy.
Oh, okay. You're a professional boxer?
Yeah.
Microsoft.
I'm fighting for the world title in February.
Okay. All the time. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Ryan Garcia.
Ryan? All right. My husband does jiu-jitsu.